Alright, hello and welcome to my 15th, 16th, maybe, part of my Retro City Rampage Clone in Unity tutorial. And today we are going to be doing money and buying things and stuff and picking up coins, as you can see there. So I'll just give you a quick demonstration. So if we go over to this gun vending machine and click E, we have a not much selection of pump guns, but click on Thompson and click buttons and stuff. But since we don't have any money, nothing happens. But if we pick up this coin, we can go back to the vending machine. If we click a gun, and it appears. It doesn't actually do anything. Yeah, it's just basically showing you like how to apply the thingy. So yeah. So basically, shop items and money we're doing today. I'll just show you basically what these are. So first off, the coin is just a sprite which cycles through all these. I found the coin sprites actually. Yep. So it's just these sprites, and then it animates through them. Which I'll just go over this in a minute, because even if you basically this is just cycles through the array of sprites, and it's kind of I made it kind of versatile, so you can do it with different things with the same script. But yeah, I'll have that in a minute. We've got a money pickup script, and the box collider is a trigger, just so it doesn't actually have collision. It'll just detect when the player's colliding with it, but you can actually just walk through it if you're not the player and stuff. So yeah. The shop is a two-part game object. But one is basically just, it's on the collision layer. There's a sprite for a shop, well, in this case a vending machine. It's got normal box collider, the shop script, and that's it. But it also has a position, just a empty game object. I'm sorry, which basically dictates where the object spawns when you buy something. Yeah, now let's get onto the script. Alright, so first off is the cache script. Simple, really. It's got a reference to itself, so you can find it in other scripts. We've got a public int, the cache, which starts at 0. And basically we've got two methods. We've got increase money, which takes an integer, which increases the money cache by a certain amount. And basically the same for decrease, which just decreases it. Simple. Auto animate basically it just cycles through sprites. It's something I made for the Hotline Miami tutorial, if you watch that, and it's the same. I basically just copied and pasted it in here. Whereas it's like the array of sprites you want to animate through, bulls to set the behavior, so it'll either loop, you can loop if you want to destroy it when the animation's finished. If you only want it to animate while the player's near, or if it needs activating, so you need to go up to the object and activate it to animate. Activated is false. Activated, I think, is like to do with needs activating. So if this is true, then it'll animate. The sprite renderer, timer, the distance from it, and the reset timer. So this, when the timer reaches 0, it's reset to this value. The counter for cycling through the sprite array, and the player game object, which could probably be a transform, but whatever. And as you can see, basically animate while near. If vector 3 distance, it'll count down timer. When the timer is 0, it'll cycle through the array, and if loop is true, it'll reach the it'll set the counter to 0, so it goes back to the start of the array. And if it's not, it destroys it. And similar thing for the normal animate, which will just basically doesn't rely on being near the player to animate. Basically does the same thing anyway. It'll just destroy the game objects if looping is not true, or if destroy on the finish is true. And if loop is true, it'll just go back to 0 and set a timer to timer reset. So that was simple. Just get out of the way, and my phone's going off. Yay, hope you can't hear that. Money pickup, again, simple, just a trigger. On trigger enter, collider to the over. It basically detects if the player has triggered the collider, or triggered the trigger, or whatever. It'll increase the money by 100 and then destroy the game object. Simple. You could have like a, say, an int increase. No, not public int actually. Public int. No, value equals 100. So that makes it actually a bit better, because then you can just, like, if you want to place coins or something, you can just like set the value yourself rather than just having it 100, and it'll increase it by that. Simple. Shop item is basically a storage for items you want to appear in the shop. I've tried to make this as I tried to make it like versatile, you know. So basically, any game objects you have in the game, you could like spawn in from one of these shops if you make textures for it. So say you could do a car if you just made an icon and you just instantiate the game object and maybe move the spawn point a bit further away so it doesn't get trapped. So yeah, maybe basically it doesn't have to be guns. It can be health kits, whatever. Anything can be used in this. So it's simple, pretty much. And one of the other things before we got into the actual shop script is the cache. Basically, on line 50 of the player GUI, we've switched the placeholder value to a $, and then the cache script.me.cache. Okay, now let's get on to the hefty one, which is the shop script. Basically, we got an array of shop items, which we just showed you is the data store here, which has all the information like the name, price, icon, and item that you create. And yeah, we got a background texture, which is just a box, a blue box, I believe. GUI textures. Yeah, it's a 100 by 100 GUI texture thingy. Simple. Why have I loaded up Audacity? Fuck off. Oh well. And I'm clicking on the wrong thing. Yeah. We've also got the GUI scaling stuff, so even if the resolution isn't like 1080p, it'll still scale it so it looks ish okay, and nothing like goes off the edge of the screen or whatever. So that's good. Boolean draw, basically, if you want to draw the GUI, basically. We've got players transform, so we can know where they are. So we're only going to have to activate it if the player's within a certain distance. And we got a GUI style, one for the buttons, which is basically just the actual clicky bit, and one is for box. This is for basically like drawing text on the buttons, pretty much. So you can have like the information like the item name and the price and whatnot. And we've got a public transform, which we set in the inspector. So the item spawn pos. Now, with if you can see, it's the store spawn point is the transform, and that's just a child game object of it. And if you make this a prefab, actually, so there, every time you create a new one, so if I made another one there, it'd remember that it's got like its own why not? Basically, it'd remember the spawn. I'm gonna run a machine. Where's that on the game? Actually, yeah. So basically, it remembers that its store spawn point needs to go with it as well. So, you know, like spawning everything at the same spawn point. So that's good. Let's see. We just get the players transform here, and we've got an input to text. Basically, sorry. Okay. So basically, if the player's if the player's more than 5 units away, it doesn't draw, and it allows the player GUI to draw the GUI. And if the player is less than 5 units of distance away, and you press E, if draw is true, it'll close it all. So basically, this line stops the shop drawing the GUI, whereas the player GUI, and then starts the player GUI drawing again. So it sets that draw GUI in the player GUI to true. Else it does the inverse, so it lets us draw it and stops the player drawing its GUI, which I'll just show you again. So yeah, so if we press E, goes off, on, etc. That's how that works. So I'm pausing it. Basically, this is just this little bit here is just to check, like, if draw is true, then it'll stop the player's GUI drawing, just in case it didn't already, but whatever. Now we get onto the GUI code. So this is all the scaling stuff for the GUI, which I've probably gone over, so I won't do it. But so basically, if drawing is equal to true, draw is equal to true, so we want to draw the shop's GUI to buy stuff. We just draw the background, which is basically just for most of the screen. That's kind of simple. We've also got a width mod and a height mod. This basically allows us to use a for loop to draw like rows of items in the shop. So yeah, so for int x equals 0 to the end of the shop items array, which we had up there. So this is just a debug the log, so it'll tell us what the width and height mods are. I can get rid of that. So basically, it'll draw a GUI button at 200, so that's the initial value, plus 210. So we're getting a little bit of a gap between, like a 10 pixel gap between the previous button and this button, or the edge, as you will. Oh, sorry. And it'll multiply this 210 value by the width mod, which basically means, and you can see, I think, where is it? All right, I'll get out. And yeah, and we got, sorry, I'll explain this bit in a second because that's what controls the width mod. We've got 200 plus height mod, which is basically controlling the row. So we've got 3 rows mainly. And they're just 150 pixels by 150 pixels, and they got nothing in them. Yeah. And basically, if we press this button, and you've got enough cash, so the cash value in cash script is more than or equal to the shop item's price, then it'll create the shop item at the item spawn position and decrease your money. Yeah, and basically we got a texture. We draw the icon on top of the button, and we've also got the name. That's where we use the box, like separate GUI style, and we've got the price as well. Yeah, now here's the little bit of maths we use. Oh, fuck. Sorry, I got bliss from my hand. Here's the bit of maths we use to make it draw in rows. So basically, if x plus 1 mod 7 equals 0, so modulus basically means if x mod 7 equals 0, so 7 mod 7, if x plus 1 mod 7 is 0, so basically that means if like it doesn't have a remainder from the function, the maths thing. So say 7 mod 7 would be 0, or 0 mod 7 it would be 0. So if x plus 1 is a multiple of 7, then it will increase the height mod by 200 and put the width mod back to 0. So that'd be like we've got a new row. But we also have a check to make sure that x isn't equal to 0, because I just put like one button at the top and then just like create a new row right at the start, because x 0 mod 7 is technically 0. So yeah. And if this condition isn't met, then we just increase the width mod, so we multiply it. So it goes 1, 2, all the way to 7. Then it gets modded. Then the mod function kicks in, set it back to 0, and it goes again. I'll just show that again. Yeah. Draws it in a row. Yeah, I think that was everything actually. No. So yeah, thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Go buy my Hotline Miami assets because I'm having to pay to have a tree cut down. Apparently, that'll be fun. Yeah, go play Loud or Quiet because it's been updated now and it's really good and you should play it. Totally. Help me live that indie game dream and stuff. Yeah, cheers for watching. Bye.